We start in Test Workbench, where we're going to create a new workspace and workbench project. Just call it something simple like Demo Project, and press Next. You'll see the types of resources you can have in a project, and we finish the wizard. We're then asked what type of test case we want to record. We want to record a Web UI test. Select Web UI and give the test a name. We then choose Next on the wizard in order to select which browser we wish to use. In this case, we're going to use Google's Chrome browser as our source of recording. When we press Finish, we'll see that the application launches Google Chrome, and then we can navigate to our start page, in this case google.com. Now you'll notice in the top of the screen there you've got a little set of recording tools, so the ability to split tests, etc. These are just helpful when you're recording your initial test cases. In my example here, I'm going to search for HCL's Products and Platforms website and do a simple validation to make sure that our client advocacy is front and center on our main page. So here I entered Products and Platforms into Google. Click on the first result, which takes you to hcltech.com. Then as the page loads, we can see client advocacy is right up there. We click on that. We get a little box that says before you go. We haven't actually left anywhere yet, but we'll come back to that one in just a minute. And then I select the client advocacy header there just so that we can validate on that particular field. Now that I'm done with my particular workflow, I can close Chrome and the recording process will stop and the test case generation will kick in. Okay, and so we see test generation here, analyzing the steps that we made and the associated packets behind the scenes. I go ahead and open the test. You'll be asked if you want to do any data correlations. We're not going to do that in this example. And we can look at the steps that we recorded. In this case, clicking on the Google Chrome menu box, entering HCL Products and Platforms, selecting the hyperlink, clicking on client advocacy, and disposing of that pop-up window before clicking on the client advocacy box. Now in our case, I want to add a validation point to make sure client advocacy is absolutely there on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on the view of the page here, and I want to add a verification point for the content of that element. In this case, we're going to check that it not only exists, but that it contains the words client advocacy. You can see that configured here. Go ahead and save the test and run it. We get asked which browser we want to run on. You can of course run on multiple browsers at the same time if you had them available. And we're going to see the test case launch and the automation start to take over. So when Chrome starts up, what we will see is that Chrome is automated by the workbench and starts to navigate through all the pages and all the steps that we did before. Now I skip a few of these steps in the video. We can see that this is being automated here. We don't need to spend all the time seeing the page being redone. Okay. When it's completed, though, you see you get a report, and here we can see that most of the steps there were successful. We've got a failure. Let's go drill in on that failure for a second. This is in the content whose division is X. Now that was that pop-up box that asked me if I wanted to find any more material before I left the site. And you see, but if you go into the report, you can jump straight to that error, and it will actually have a little pop-up box that lets you take that directly into the test editor. So if you couldn't find that particular field, it's very easy to navigate to it from the report. In our example, I'm just going to remove that piece because it's not necessary. It's supposed to be for if people move their mouse pointer outside of the browser, for example, and that sort of thing. Because we're automated, that's not going to happen. We can of course look at the detailed reports here, where we can see some information about statistics on page response times, and you can start to dive into these reports in a lot more detail if you wish. Okay, that's it for the demonstration. Thank you.